Good afternoon. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Addiesdive AD2112 Explorer. This watch is available from watchdives.com for $179. You can use the discount code WR4K to get $10 discount off any watch over $150 on watchdives.com. So firstly, let's look at the box that the watch comes in, and then I'll talk you through the other items one gets with the piece. So the watch comes in this black plastic vinyl coated watch box with white stitching which contrasts around the perimeter, hinged lid, and the interior is fully upholstered with black velour fabric to a good standard, and the watch sits on a padded pillow cushion which is also velour upholstered to a good standard as one would expect. So although basic, it does suffice in protecting the watch in shipping, and I think it is perfectly acceptable, bearing in mind this is a low tier price point piece at $179. With the watch, one also gets this owner's instruction manual, clear concise diagrams, and the instructions are in English. It details the operation of the movement use, which is the Seiko NH38 automatic. One also gets this plastic guarantee card, and I'm pleased to report if you purchase the watch from watchdives.com, it's covered by a 3-year international warranty versus the standard Addiesdive 2-year international warranty, which is very reassuring. And lastly, one also gets this Addiesdive plastic tag. So, with regards to the specifications of the piece, this is the Addiesdive AD2112 Explorer. The watch is available in 2 dial colour options, matte blue you're looking at here, or alternatively matte black. If the Explorer dial layout and Mercedes hands aren't your personal taste, Addiesdive also produce another version of this watch which is called the AD2113. The 2113 has a Submariner style dial layout and also snowflake hands, and it's also available in matte blue and matte black respectively. Of the various versions, I think this Explorer dial version with the Mercedes hands, the AD2112, is the best looking option. So the watch is clearly an homage to the Rolex Explorer, very similar proportions. We have a 39mm case diameter, we have a 48.1mm lug to lug measurement, a thickness of 13.1mm, and a lug width of 20mm. The oyster style bracelet tapers from 20mm at the lugs down to 16mm at the 2-button push flip lock clasp. The clasp is sterile and unsigned. I would prefer to see it engraved with Addiesdive's brand logo, or alternatively the Addiesdive brand emblem. And also I would like to see them extend the length, because as always I'm going to be critical of it only having 3 micro adjustment holes. I would like to see a longer clasp with 4 micro adjustment holes to better allow for fine tuning the bracelet length to get the perfect fit. I'd also like to see a thicker gauge of stainless steel used, because this clasp really is light gauge. So a clear cost cutting measure, but having said that, the flip lock works well. There's a scallop so one can scoop one's index fingernail underneath the flip lock, and also good foam resistance to the 2-button push triggers. The interior is pressed stainless steel rather than being solid milled stainless steel, so I dislike this cost cutting measure. Usually I would be highly critical of a pressed stainless steel clasp, but in this case I'm not going to be critical of the cost cutting measure, and I will explain why. Now it does snap shut with a good positive click, and the flip lock also snaps shut with a reassuring secondary click. So the reason why I'm not going to be critical of the cost cutting measure of the clasp is because this features a quick release bracelet. If you look closely at the flanks, on the left hand flanks, you'll see there are no holes drilled in the links. There are no push pins and there are no screw pins, and I'll show you the other flank. As you can see, no holes in the links. So this is an innovative bracelet, because the first 3 links after the clasp are quick release links, and on the other side of the clasp the first 3 links are also quick release, and as you can see again there are no holes, no screw pins, no push pins. So just bear with me, I'm going to remove my glove and test it out and to see how it works, because I've never seen this on a watch bracelet before. So the first 3 links are quick release, and the right hand link of the 3 links is spring loaded. If you look closely you can see that I can pull it out and rotate it through 90 degrees, and then after rotating it through 90 degrees one can simply separate the bracelet, as you can see. No tools required whatsoever. One doesn't need a screwdriver or push or a bracelet resizing tool, so I'm just going to test putting it back together and test the spring loaded link. It pulls itself with the spring-loaded action back onto the pin. Now in terms of the articulation, it feels exactly the same as a screw pin or push pin bracelet, it doesn't kink, it doesn't feel stiff, and it's not sloppy either. The pins in the links feel like a good fit, so it feels like a screw pin bracelet. It's got that kind of feeling to it. Articulates very well, it's smooth, but it's not sloppy, it doesn't have lots of play in it. So I'm just actually going to remove one full link from the bracelet to test it out. So one just rotates the outer right hand link through 90 degrees, separates the bracelet, and I'm just going to undo another one to just see how practical this is. So as you can see, I've now removed one full link. I'm going to test putting it back together again, just testing out the functionality of it. It slips together very smoothly with minimal resistance. There's a good firm resistance to the spring-loaded action of the right-hand link. One can feel the resistance. One has to give it a good pull. It's not easy to pull out. One has to really grip it, which is why I removed my glove to get extra purchase. If I release my index finger and thumb, you can see it pulls, the spring-loaded action pulls the link back onto the pin itself. One doesn't have to push it back in. So it's very well engineered. As you can see, I've now removed one full link from the bracelet, and I'll show you the link. So in terms of the design of it, just bear with me, I'll get the camera to focus. It looks exactly the same as a screw pin link or alternatively a push pin link, but the difference is this right hand outer link, which you can rotate, as you can see. One rotates it through 90 degrees and it's got this spring-loaded action to it. And it feels very smooth actually, but the resistance of the spring-loaded action is quite firm. One really needs to grip it with an index finger and thumb and really give it a good pull. So it's not accidentally going to come undone. For example, when you're wearing the watch for long periods of time, such as 8 to 12 hours per day, you're not going to accidentally catch the outer link and split the bracelet when wearing it. The resistance is quite firm. So my question is, how long is this going to last? I think it's going to be very durable long term because the spring feels quite strong. And I don't think, even with regular use, that spring's going to lose the tension. I think that it's going to stay like that after years of use. Very well engineered. I mean, bear in mind, we're not looking at a €10,000 Rolex here. This is a low-tier Addiesdive watch costing $179 US. So I'm just going to put it back in again and just fully test the functionality of it to confirm how practical it is. Very easy to separate, as you can see. So I'm just going to put it back in. So it's very easy to both remove and refit the links. And I've never seen this before. I've reviewed over 200 watches on my channel and I've never seen anything like it, even on high tier pieces which have very well engineered bracelets. As you can see, it fits together very well. Very easy to pull out the right hand link and it snaps together again very easily, and it doesn't kink, it articulates very well. This is a really good innovation and I think other watch brands should consider using it. So the first three links on this side of the clasp are spring loaded. The right hand ones are spring loaded, the left hand ones are fixed, and one has to rotate it through 180 degrees. The first three links on the right hand side are spring loaded and the left hand links are fixed. Works very well. Right, so I'll give you a wrist shot and you can see how it fits on my 8-inch wrist. Just bear with me and I'll put my glove back on and continue. So that's why I'm not going to be critical of the abhorrent pressed metal clasp, which I usually am, because they've put so much engineering into the oyster style bracelet. So as you can see, it does snap shut with a nice positive click, and the flip lock does have a nice positive secondary click. So although pressed metal, these are easy to upgrade. For example, one can purchase a solid mill clasp from AliExpress. I've just bought one for my Casio Duro for €8, so it's not an expensive upgrade. So as you can see, the 39mm head of the piece fits my 8-inch wrist very well. 20mm lug width perfectly balances it. Beautiful proportion to the oyster style bracelet. I like the use of female pivoted end links, and they give a better fit than male end links, which would extend the overall lug to lug measurement. 48.1 is very close to perfection. As you'll know from my previous reviews, I consider 48mm to be the sweet spot. That is the perfect lug to lug measurement, regardless of whether you have a 6 to 7-inch wrist or a 7 to 8-inch wrist respectively. The feel good factor, the comfort level of this watch are both 10 out of 10. Very aesthetically pleasing. So with regards to the rest of the specification, we have a boxed top hat sapphire crystal, which is double domed, clear AR coating on the underside, the Mercedes hands and the applied Explorer dial layout, including the 9, 6 and 3 Arabic numerals, are all fully loomed with BGW9 Superluminova. Now, you may think that this looks very similar to a San Martin SN021G, and I'll explain why that is. Excuse me. The reason why the case and the crystal look very similar, and also the dial, is because Addiesdive are using the same factory to produce the dial and the case that San Martin are using. So that is an indication of the quality of this piece, and you can see the similarity of this AD2112 case to the San Martin SN021G case. They're very similar. So they're using the same factory for the dial, the lume, and also the case, and it's just absolutely beautiful to look at. The matte blue dial, very aesthetically pleasing. Mirror polished bezel really does complement the mirror polished flank, so the proportions of this piece are very good. Now, in terms of heft, it's 126 grams, so it's a very lightweight piece. Normally with a 39 or a 40mm piece, I would expect it on a bracelet to weigh circa 150 grams. 126 is very light, feels very comfortable, and I absolutely love the proportions of it. I think they've got the proportions just right. 39mm with 20mm lug width and a 48.1 lug to lug is very close to perfection. Right, so I'll show you the case back. We have a solid 316L grade stainless steel screw down case back, which provides an effective hermetic seal to 200 meters. Beautifully engraved with the specification around the circumference, and the center section is beautifully engraved with the Addiesdive brand emblem. It's a low profile case back, as you can see, brushed satin finish throughout, and it's very well executed. No sharp edges, no burrs. The engraving is high grade, so I really like it. I also like the fit of the female pivoted end links to the head of the piece, and the female pivoted end links articulate very well. They really do feel very similar to a San Martin bracelet in terms of the bracelet's articulation. The quality of the finishing to the bracelet links is also outstanding. Beautiful luster to the 316L grade stainless steel, brushed satin finish to the top side, underside, and that contrasts with the mirror polished flanks. And it's also very aesthetically pleasing because we don't have screw heads, or alternatively holes or push pins going through the links. The flanks are without holes due to the quick release links, as you can see. Mirror polishing is done to a very good standard. So the bracelet on this piece is very well engineered. I really like it. The finishing is good, no sharp edges, no burrs. It's not a sloppy bracelet with lots of play, and the articulation is very good. They're not stiff, the links don't kink. Now, really, the only cost-cutting measure is the clasp, and for €8 one can upgrade this to a solid milled stainless steel clasp. So, as I've discussed, I'm not going to be critical of it for that reason. The bracelet is outstanding. With regards to the crown, it's a solid stainless steel 316L grade crown, coin edge finished and embossed with the Addiesdive brand emblem to a good standard. Let's test the action. Absolutely silky smooth. It feels very similar to a San Martin screw down crown, similar to an SN020G or alternatively an SN021G, which you might be familiar with. And that's no surprise because, as I've discussed, Addiesdive are using the same factory that make the San Martin cases to make this piece. The screw-down crown provides an effective hermetic seal to 100 meters. So the NH38 automatic has hand binding and hacking. Let's test the hand binding. One can feel the tension in the mainspring gradually building up. Very smooth, nice firm resistance to the mainspring. One can feel the tension building up. So, as it's an NH38 rather than an NH35A, one doesn't have a date complication. Pulling it out to the first click position is the final click position, the time setting position. And as you can see, I've now hacked the movement. One can stop the second hand dead to set the time precisely to the second. Nice light resistance to the NH38. And I like that there's no phantom date setting position. Pushing it back in immediately restarts the movement. They've made the correct choice. For example, they could have used the NH35A and had a phantom date wheel setting position. The date wheel would have been present underneath the dial, so 2 clicks on the crown. The NH38 is better because you simply have 1 click, and I really like that about it. They've used the NH38. So let's test screwing it back down. Immediate thread pickup. Outstanding. This is 10 out of 10. Screw down crown execution. It feels smooth and I like it. the threading is done very well. The internal thread of the stainless steel crown and the external thread of the crown tube interface very well. One can feel the frictions of the O-ring compressing against the internals of the crown and also the internal O-ring inside the crown tube. One can feel the rubber compressing to provide that hermetic seal of 100 meters. So it's very good. The screw down crown is excellent. So let's do a lume test and we'll see how the lume performs when it's charged up to the absolute maximum. So as always, I'm going to use my 100 UV LED torch to charge it up to the absolute peak. Right, so that's now fully charged, and as you can see, it has not disappointed. This is top grade BGW9 Superlume Nova. So as I've discussed, Addiesdive are using the same factory to make their dials for this piece as San Martin are using, and they're using the same supplier of BGW9 Superlume Nova as San Martin for the dials, and as you can see, there is no discernible difference between the quality of the BGW9 Superlume Nova on this Addiesdive and the quality of the BGW9 used on San Martin pieces, such as the SN020G and 021G respectively. The Mercedes hands are well proportioned. As you can see, this is 5 to 6 layers of BGW9 on the Mercedes hands and 5 to 6 layers on the Explorer dial layout. I like the fact the 9, 6 and 3 large Arabic numerals are fully loomed, and also there's a good colour tone match. The blue tone on the hands matches the blue tone on the applied indices. Legibility is outstanding, it's glowing incredibly brightly and it will continue to glow for a good length of time. So this is the difference between a cost-cutting measure of Pagani design using Lume Nova. This is what BGW9 Superlume Nova looks like. And as collectors, we often talk about how we would like to see Pagani design upgrade to using BGW9 or C3 Superlume Nova, because that is the main negative of their watches, the poor quality lume. Addiesdive deserve full credit because this is top grade, equal in quality to San Martin BGW9, but the watch is only $179 US, which is significantly less expensive than a San Martin SN020G or 021G respectively. So 10 out of 10 performance, and I really like it. Right, so let's discuss the movement used because it's one of my favourite aspects of the piece. You will all be familiar with the Seiko NH38 Automatic. The architecture of the NH38 is the same as the architecture of the NH35A. The only difference between the movements is the NH38 is the no-date version. It doesn't have a date wheel, but the rest of the movement is the same. It's a reliable, well-proven workhorse movement. It has 24 joules and it runs at 21,600 vibrations per hour and a frequency of 3 Hz. 40-hour power reserve is perfectly acceptable. Hand winding and hacking are useful complications. The stated accuracy of the NH38 is -20 to +40 seconds per day, so a rather wide accuracy range. However, I'm pleased to report that Addiesdive are well regulating the NH38 movements they're using. This one is running consistently at +8 seconds per day, which is perfectly acceptable for an NH38. So correct choice for this piece, and I like the fact they didn't use the NH35A as discussed because there's no phantom date setting position, and it's a reliable, well proven workhorse movement, no negatives to it whatsoever. 40 hours is good, hand winding and hacking are also good. Right, so lastly I'll summarise the piece. What do I think of it overall? Well, when I'm considering reviewing a watch on my channel, the watch should meet 2 criteria. It should be both excellent quality and excellent value at the respective price points. At $179 US, this cannot be beaten for an Explorer Homage. Now yes, it does have an abhorrent press clasp which is sterile. This is a clear cost-cutting measure, 3 micro adjustment holes. However, one can easily upgrade this for €8 buying one from AliExpress, for example, a solid milled stainless steel clasp that I've just purchased. So it's a minor negative, one can easily rectify it if you want to. The bracelets on this watch is reason alone to purchase this piece. This is incredible engineering. As I've discussed, we're not looking at a €10,000 Rolex here. This is $179 US. The quality of the engineering in this quick release bracelet with the 3 quick release links, and as I've demonstrated, it works very well. One can easily resize the bracelet without any tools. The articulation is very good, no stiff links, and it doesn't feel sloppy. This is a very well finished, well engineered bracelet. The luster is good, the mirror polishing is good. It's very aesthetically pleasing without any holes in it for the screw pins or push pins. And I just think it's incredible. I think Addiesdive deserve full credit for creating an innovation like this. I've never seen it on another watch. It's a very good looking bracelet. They've also made the correct decision by using female pivoted end links, which give a very good fit, versus male end links. So there are no other cost-cutting measures other than the clasp, because we have a box top hat crystal with AR coating. BGW9 Super Lume Nova is top grade, 100 meters is perfectly acceptable. And we also have a screw-down crown rather than the cost-cutting measure of a push-pull crown. This is one of the best Addiesdive watches they have ever made, and one can clearly see that they're using the same factory for the dial, the BGW9 and also the case, because the quality of the finishing to the head of this piece, the bezel, the flanks of the case back, this is San Martin level quality head of the piece finishing. And also the finishing to the bracelet, I would describe it as San Martin level finishing. If you look at the luster and the mirror polishing. Outstanding watch, $179. I really do not think this cannot be beaten for an Explorer Homage at this price point. If you want a better quality piece with a milled clasp, you're going to have to pay $350 and buy a San Martin, either the SN020G or SN021G. At $179, this is much less expensive than a San Martin, but you're getting the same head of the piece, the same boxed top hat crystal with AR coating, the same quality of dial, hands and BGW9, so definitely worth considering. So yes, it's excellent quality, and yes, it's excellent value. I'm going to declare it a champagne watch for lemonade money. I hope you've enjoyed my review of the Addiesdive AD2112 Explorer. Please feel free to post your own comments below the video. Thank you very much.